Are the kids good at hunting monsters?
Oh, hey,
Check
hi,
this.
hello, welcome on in, where Warren asked the most important questions to start the night if kids are good at hunting monsters. Mike Wazowski says no, but we'll find out later. We're going to go around the room, introduce who we're going to be playing this evening as we hop into episode 21 Motion of the Blood Ocean. And we're going to go ahead and start with Warren.
Yeah, you just threw me with the Monsters Inc. thing, and you did Boo dirty, right? She rewrote Monster Society. She was very good at hunting monsters. She completely eliminated scary monsters under the bed. So, hi, I'm Warren, and I am playing Victor Marlowe, who is doesn't know what clan he's from. Sort of seems like a Tremere, though.
It's not a Tremere. Next up, we have Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'll be playing Julian the Malkavian.
Next up, we have Hannah.
Hey, I'm Hannah, playing Charlie the Zemitzi.
Wonderful. Next up, we got Rob.
Hi everyone, I'm Rob. I'm playing Vincent de la Sombra. I am overdue for a stain, so I think that's maybe a goal for tonight.
I can make that happen very quickly for you. And last but not least, we have Ian.
Hi, I'm Ian. I'm playing Riley, the Toreador.
I definitely heard O'Reilly the Toreador, and there was
O'Reilly the Toreador. That's a different character.
But do they specialize in mechanics? Asking for a friend.
No.
A couple of housekeeping things, y'all. Thanks. Because it's the house rules. There's one of us here that isn't a Lasombra that has a stain that needs to possibly be resolved. So Charlie, if you want to go ahead and roll a remorse check for us, that'd be super awesome for me.
I'm still at Humanity 7.
Yo.
For now.
Probably will not stay that way.
What is it with the La Sombra and the Shemisi for just constantly collecting stains? You'd think they were Sabat clans or something.
Exactly. They don't have the tower to rein them in anymore. Wonderful. Well, as we get going, you guys had a very eventful evening. Where we sort of wrapped up was that Julian was having a session, and got some cash coming in from some very wealthy individuals. A reading was taking place. But also, Riley refused to wear some sweet, sweet boots before going and meeting an individual about an invitation. Where they were given an invitation to the Succubus Club.
Yeah, we're not wearing those boots.
It's unfortunate. There were some new individuals that were sort of seen off screen as well. And we no longer have a certain Ventru that is roaming around the streets of Indianapolis as Caleb lost a few pounds as his head was removed from his body very quickly.
Just a couple of pounds.
Just a couple. But it looks like there are some very powerful Kamites that have arrived back in Indianapolis off screen. So, this is where we're going to be picking up here this evening. Is there anything you guys would like to do with the rest of this evening? Or do you guys want to fast forward into the next night? It is roughly where we left off, about 2:30 in the morning. So, you have still roughly about 3 hours before sunup.
I think that Vincent's going to want to talk to Simon about some jobs that need doing. But I think that he's probably going to like tee that up and then suggest that he go and have that conversation somewhere away from the group, just since it's personal business.
Of course. Okay. Anything anyone else would like to do or prep before taking the day sleep?
I think Charlie would like to eat before heading to sleep.
I will allow that. Please go ahead and make a hunger roll for me, please. Warren, you look confused. You doing okay there, friend?
Yeah, I was thinking about a few things, but I'm good.
What's the DC?
DC is going to be 3 for this.
I got 4.
Okay. Easy enough to find your prey on who you can go ahead and feed upon. Now, the question is, how much feeding do you want to do?
I'm just gonna bring it down to a 1.
Okay.
I have 3 right now.
Okay. So you want to do the 2 without causing any sort of aggravated damage to this mortal, taking a little bit too much
Correct.
blood, or, killing them outright. So, you're able to go ahead, feed without any issue, and close the wound, and leave this individual the same way you found them. And get down to 1 hunger. It's nice to be down at this level here for a first time in what seems like a long time there.
I also need to grab a bite.
All right. Anyone else who would like to take a bite, could please go ahead and roll a hunting roll for me. There's going to be DC 3 across the board.
I'm assuming since I just hunted, I cannot hunt again.
You can. You didn't have any sort of negative consequence with yours, right?
No. Yeah, no negative with mine.
No. So you can still roll again. Just be DC 3 for you as well. It's not going to be any sort of more difficult.
I am going to hunt. I'm just double checking my roll.
Yeah. Make people feel bad about themselves roll.
Yeah.
Just make sure we're talking about the same roll.
The
Yeah.
classic.
They'll feel better after, but for now.
Riley, are you wanting to feed? Or are you feeling pretty tip top?
We are big chilling. I'm at 1 hunger at the moment.
Dang, Marlo, jeez.
I think I found the mother lode.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeehaw.
Good lord.
I
Bring
will not
back that
kill my
tip for the
prey.
rest of us, man.
I'll just bring my hunger down to 1.
Okay.
I am also just going to bring my hunger down to 1.
Perfect.
Ditto.
Perfect. Vincent getting dangerously close to a messy critical there is all I'm saying, friend.
It's all right.
Real trying to speed run that stain real quick there. But congratulations. As a coterie, this might be the lowest your hunger has been since episode 1, minute 2. So congratulations.
Of season
We did
1.
it.
Of season 1, yeah, true. Okay. Roughly about this point, it's been about a month since your guys' embrace. And even though some of you may have had some frustration, anger, or otherwise ill feeling towards your sire, there was always something that pulled you close to them, almost like a deep connection. And when each of you sort of finish up your hunt, you guys begin to feel that connection, that bond between the two of you break down a bit more, where you don't feel as connected as you once did. As it seems like that bond that you guys shared is wore off.
Cool with that.
Let me just want.
Oh no, the guy I didn't know. I still don't know. Les.
You're
He
welcome.
has no pull over me. No.
Right.
I think if anything, that means that Vincent wakes up motivated.
Exactly.
This is when we start.
I am no longer conflicted.
The boulder is conflicted.
Exactly. But okay. After your guys' hunt, is there anything you guys would like to do? You guys did finish up your hunt. You guys have roughly about 2 hours left after finding your victim, feeding from them, and carefully making sure to hide any of the evidence. Is there anything else you'd like to do besides? I know Simon's doing some background information for you.
I think that Vincent and Simon talk for about half an hour, and then Vincent's like, "You need to sleep because you need to go to work."
Oh yeah, that's right. Going around the table once, twice.
This is just to wrap out the night, right?
Correct.
Right.
Do we all
Yeah,
crash
chilling.
at Julian's, or do we go our separate ways? That's my only question.
That is a good question.
Julian's got plenty of rooms.
I'm gonna go my separate way.
Yeah, I'm going home.
Julian, should we party?
I'll get the Monopoly.
Dibs
I
on the
just, like-
thimble.
That's the
You said-
lamest piece.
Race car, I was about to slap you.
Wow.
Could I rent out a room?
Oh yeah, for sure. Pretty much anything except for my office, and you'll know when you open the door. So
Okay, thanks.
typewriter, stacks of papers, no bed.
I would like to roll to find out who wins Monopoly.
Perfect.
Mostly
It does
because I
seem-
want to see what a bestial fail or a messy crit at Monopoly does to this coterie.
I mean,
It tears us
I'd like
apart.
to use
Turns out that finance is a
subterfuge
skill.
and resolve for my playing.
It's definitely gonna be resolve based.
probably finance, right? Resolve finance.
I like Resolve Finance. I'm okay with Resolve Finance.
Well, I don't have to know finance. I just have to be a good liar. I'll be the bank.
I see where this is going. I see.
Constantly sliding cash out.
Resolve finance will work as well as resolve subterfuge. You guys can each take your preference.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I like about you guys. You guys keep me on my toes by wanting to play Monopoly instead of just going to bed.
All right, 4 successes for me.
Oh, that's going to be hard to beat.
Let's burn some willpower.
Please don't.
Burn it now. The night's restarting.
Warren's like, let me surge real quick. I just fed.
You don't know how badly I need this win, man.
Oh, it didn't go through.
Warren's like,
Sorry.
I need this win, not the character, but I need this win.
No, I just, because he said Monopoly, and then I was like, you know what would really tear a coterie apart is Monopoly or Risk.
Mario Party.
Diplomacy.
True.
That's a great game.
All right, Julian wins.
You sure you don't want willpower?
Think about it.
I mean, the best I could do is a tie.
That's a bold statement. Go for broke is what I'm saying. You're playing Monopoly.
No, you know what? I feel like if I had missed by more, I would absolutely have willpower to at least be competitive. But I feel like this is I can
Good
walk
game.
away.
This
Like
is a
I
good
took
game.
Boardwalk, but I lost, so I'm okay.
Mm. The coward's way out. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say that's quitter talk, but all right.
Gotta risk it. Gotta risk the successes. The really, gotta go for it. All right. A game of Monopoly lasts until right before sunrise comes up. And you guys definitely, for the two of you, I guess actually my next question is, Charlie, did you also join in on Monopoly or witness the Monopoly playing, or did you go straight to bed?
I would have watched them, duel it out.
Okay.
I would not have played.
Of course not. Of course not.
Maybe I would
like
have been
how-
the big.
I like how aggressive that was. I didn't play.
I just want to let it be known, it's going to come up against me in like episode 85 that I did not play Monopoly.
Exactly.
If Charlie was
Charlie's
the
too.
bank, then I would have slipped her a cool 100 bill to make sure she was constantly feeding me under the table.
That
That
explains
was
it.
such a close win.
It's like, make it look good.
The three of you did learn, though, that as the sun began to rise, there was definitely enough cover to not worry about being damaged by the sun. But the three of you learned that very, very quickly. It almost felt like you were almost magically put to sleep, where your eyes immediately began to get heavy, and realizing that, oh, I can just go out at any moment. As far as like just falling asleep where you were. Doesn't matter if you were standing or anything like that, but you guys did learn what happens when your kind gets a little too close to the sun.
What is bedtime?
Everyone goes ahead and retires to their respective abodes as we go ahead and have a day's sleep. Everyone can go ahead and begin to replenish their willpower. If anyone is missing any superficial damage, you can go ahead and also attempt to roll those if you would like. If anyone has any sort of aggravated damage, you're more than welcome to also roll that before waking up for tomorrow.
Superficial
Is there
willpower.
a specific
Just
role for willpower, getting willpower back? Or does it just come back?
It's equal to, I believe, your resolve or
Composure.
character's maximum
Composure.
willpower equal.
whichever one's higher, you get back.
Hunger 1, willpower 0?
You get 0 willpower already?
Well, I mean, like 0 marked.
Oh, yeah. Top. What could go wrong?
Topped off. Full, exactly. Historically, lots. Someone's going to shoot
That's
a rocket at
danger.
us today.
I did that when you guys
Or
had
we will.
hunger
All right, cool.
out the butt.
Butt hunger.
That's a different kind of hunger. Um, I couldn't tell you what tonight is.
All right, stop the podcast.
Yeah, you know what? We peaked here. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
So, I don't know if this was where y'all went, but butt hunger for me was Charlie seeing someone with a great butt and be like, I want that one. And then stealing a butt.
That's
So
not
we
where
were
I
talking-
went, but I'm very glad that that's where you went with it.
So if we were talking about turning hands into a clutch earlier,
I think it's a wallet.
what this is
Just
a
your
wallet?
saddlebags.
Yeah.
Saddlebags. Yeah.
Throw them on your motorcycle.
I'm so here for this.
Could be an ass hat.
You know what, Warren? You could take a point of humanity back. I like it. No, I'm just kidding.
A full point of
Wow,
humanity.
I need to take bigger swings on my jokes.
That's what I'm saying. It's risk and reward, though. He almost lost a point of humanity if the joke did not
I was gonna
land.
say could go either way.
That's amazing. Okay. So you guys are rested up, feeling very hopeful of the future. I need everyone to please go ahead and make a rouse check as you begin to awaken.
We're getting good at this.
Well, most of you.
On average.
Shut up.
On average.
Look, you won Monopoly. You can't have everything, man.
Yeah. Shit.
I know.
I was gonna say, if this was anything like any game of Monopoly I've ever played, you went to sleep for the day with it like 90% finished, and we're like, we're gonna finish in the morning. Never finished the game.
That sounds like most of my games of Risk.
Risk
It's very
is-
clear who was gonna win.
Yeah. But okay, you guys have awoken the following day, or following night, excuse me.
uh, I'll make my first order of business. Locking everything down and reaching out to the group. I think I would hit probably Charlie first, and then kind of make the rounds from there. About just what's the deal, what's the plan, what are we doing, where are we meeting, are we meeting?
I think Charlie would probably be up when you texted, so I would text back. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody yet. Just sitting in my room right now. You could probably
Right.
come over this way.
Right, I'll do that. And then I'll head towards Julian's.
At that point, I would like go out into like the living room or kitchen area to see if anybody was up.
Riley,
Yes.
as you pass the clerk at the front desk of the place that you're staying, you are stopped and handed a folded piece of paper.
Interesting. I will read said paper. Well, like, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then I'll read the paper.
They sort of nod and go back to their desk. I'm not sure if they know you're here, but I believe you've been made. Jay.
All right. That's not just making everything more complicated. Cool. I will fold that paper up, put it in my pocket, and we're going to keep moving.
Okay. You begin to head that way. And what's the rest of the coterie doing while they are getting ready for the night?
I'm looking at Julian saying, "Hey, do we have plans? Do we need to do something today?"
Oh, my brain's a little fuzzy. I think we had some formulation of a plan. We were dropping some blind drop, but I don't remember what we were trying to find out. We had a goal last night, and then we played Monopoly, and that's all I could think about.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we did the job for the spider, and we did the job for the Baron. The Baron was going to put us in contact with some people. I guess we should probably get in contact with the people.
Was the spider also supposed to at least fence it? I think he said party, introductions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's right. Guess we could see what Vincent's up to.
So yeah, I have to imagine that in the message I'd have included a like, here's how to get get a hold of us or get in touch with us,
Mhm.
so that we're not just playing like dead drop phone tag. Um, but I think I'd have included Vincent's number or like I'll be at Fairfield's place 3 hours after. I don't know what we call that, like the mill or whatever, or the warehouse or the building.
Yeah.
3 hours after sundown.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can use my phone. Hang on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At some point, I'm gonna start surging on this.
I do appreciate the preemptive remorse test. You do feel bad about using your phone. That is correct.
Wasn't what I intended to do, but here we are.
We were trying to find somebody who can mind wipe the hunters that are here for Charlie and Riley. That's what we were doing.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Because I was like, let's just kill him, and then we decided to go off looking for mind wipe. Yeah.
I didn't think you were like, let's just kill them.
Oh, that was internal. I definitely was.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
it did come out of my mouth, but
To say you seemed like one of the voices of reason at the table, but
The voice of
Yeah.
reason, not the mentality of reason. There's two very different things.
I mean, there's scales of reasonable, right? Like, as a reasonable human being, don't kill other people. As a reasonable kindred, what's the fastest way to solve a problem?
Pay for it.
yeah, but then you just kind of become more of a monster.
Mm.
I mean, is that your goal?
that's a thing that can be fixed.
I mean, these are people that want to kill us.
Right.
It's
'cause
like
we're monsters. We can
preemptive
kill and
self-defense.
eat people.
Preemptive self-defense.
I mean, we know they're out there
can't
hunting us.
really blame them.
Voice in my head.
I mean, in all honesty, I can't really blame them for wanting to kill us. I mean, we are abomination.
I definitely can.
Why?
What did I do to anybody?
You eat people
Only a little, most of the time.
sometimes.
I would love if that was the line that Riley came walking into the house on. We eating people? What's going on?
We're just having a philosophical discussion
Oh,
about the nature of unlife and inhumanity.
I mean, we do eat people.
Right. So we're monsters.
Only a little, though.
Yeah, we've
Sometimes.
I wouldn't even say we eat people. I'd say what we do is like eating adjacent.
What happens when you lose control?
They turn into a smoothie. I don't eat them.
Can I show up at some
Yes, I
point in
drink
this?
them fully.
Right at this point of someone turning into a smoothie, you happen to walk into the front door of Julian's.
This is a great.
So what? Why are we smoothieing people?
We're not.
the
Some people do.
Yeah.
We're having a philosophical conversation about whether it's right or wrong to preemptively kill people who want to kill us for being who we are.
What's the
I
matter with
said I
Because
you?
can
we happen
understand
to
their position.
occasionally drink people smoothies.
I didn't say I agree with their position, and I didn't say I feel like I deserve to die. I just said I can understand their position.
Oh, I can understand their position too, and I can understand not letting them do it. I mean,
Right, which is why we're trying to find a humane way to not let them do it.
if you want to find the most humane way to drink blood, there's a condition called hereditary hemochromatosis. Those folks have to donate every couple weeks. You'd be doing them a favor.
Well, I already have clientele who pay me to drink their blood, so I mean,
That
that's a
was
humane way to handle it.
that was a
Yeah.
huge word.
Hemochromatosis, it means that you have too much iron in your blood.
Sounds
It's sort of
metallic.
the,
I'm out.
it's sort of the opposite of being anemic.
I'm not trying to catch my nutrients off someone that tastes like pennies.
No, that's largely copper. And it's not even really copper at this point because copper is too valuable. But
Right. Either way.
if anything, it probably tastes like a nail.
Yeah, no, you're not helping the case. I'm out.
Look,
Okay,
you
okay,
do
okay.
you. I'm just saying that there's a nice way to do it. There's a way to
Let's
help
table
people
this
by what they are.
conversation for now, and let's figure out what the hell we're gonna get up to.
So does anybody know anybody that can do the mind whammy on these hunters?
That's what Vincent was contacting this dead drop about, seeing if they know anybody who can do the whammy.
I gave Theodore my phone number and told him that we'd have people at the warehouse by about 3 hours after sundown. So 2 hours and some change from now.
Question: was there any sort of contact information for Jay in that note, or was it just
Just a letter.
okay? Cool. Just making sure. Is that
But
a name or initial that I would actively recognize?
If you know the alphabet, yeah.
Valid. Okay.
So no.
Wow.
Brutal.
I
Well,
left
brutal.
it to be there, and someone else took the swing. Is all I'm saying.
You know what? You know what?
But I will have you take a point of superficial willpower damage from that.
Oh,
Hell.
brutal.
Ian, not Riley.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I just healed that.
I mean, it's not even in character. I'm responding to a storyteller burn.
I just. Everything sucks.
Oh, no, not like this.
Recently, but
I'm pretty sure I do.
And Brink's like relative's name. The one that met Charlie in the bar when she came back.
To me, though, I believe that was the same.
They had the last name Brink, right? Or they worked for Brink Incorporated or something. Remember, but I can't remember what their name was. I can't remember if it started with a J.
I mean, damn, I can't answer that question because I have I have too many strong opinions that I don't want to give the wrong information or assume anything.
Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade.
Stupid freaking Jay.
so while we have a minute, I do have. I'm going to recommend that we get the ball rolling on starting to try to find these people while we're working out the mind whammy. They're not waiting to come and find us. So
And this is out of character. Riley gave us the sort of rundown on how these two operate, right?
The best that They could, yes.
So yeah,
Okay,
that's
so Vincent, you said you knew people who existed in that world that might be able to establish contact with them?
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe if we can set up a meet between them and your contacts, we can follow them back to their base of operations.
Um, yeah, maybe. I was thinking about being a little less direct than that, but if that's how we end up wanting to do it, then sure.
Well, throw out your idea.
So the person that I know is a hunter. I was before I died. Maybe still am. I don't know. I haven't really looked into whether or not that's a thing that I can still do. But she has a little bit of clout in the space. She's a good person. I think that based on Riley's description of these two, they'd probably like her. She's professional and is in it for a cause, unlike uh, me, I suppose. So I think that she might be able to find her way into their group and help direct a little bit. It might lead to burning a bridge for me at some point, but
Oh, I was going to ask if she would sell them out for you.
not on purpose. But
By that same though, I don't want you to have to burn a bridge if we can avoid it. Like if whatever the cleanest way out of this is.
I mean, the approach that we're talking about right now doesn't really put people in jeopardy. It's mostly about changing hearts and minds. So,
Alright.
Are you concerned about potentially bolstering their numbers by putting her in contact with them? They
oh,
go
no.
from a two-person unit to three?
I mean, she and I have a long history of trust and professional courtesy. I think that my intent in talking to her is to put her on a different lead and suggest that there's people in town that she might reach out to for help with that.
And you're
And then I
willing
do
to
what I
use
normally do and drop them information, and we get the benefit of having them suss some people out and finding who we need.
is there
sounds
any like spoken or unspoken rule about doing that kind of thing with, the Baron?
I wasn't thinking of doing it with the Baron's people, but
No, I just mean like, is that one of those things where if the people find out that we're helping some people like that, does that get us in trouble?
yeah, maybe. I mean, the cleanest option is to find these people where they live and kill them in their sleep. But obviously, we are not really on board with that. And I get why, right? But if we were to go and ask the Baron what he recommends that we do, it's going to be that.
well, and if anybody overhears that Charlie and Riley used to be hunters, that might make life a little more difficult for them.
I would assume that it would.
Not if your cell gets dealt with and you had a hand in that. That makes it pretty clear that you're cutting ties.
No, I'm saying if we were to go ask the Baron for his blessing. People talk, loose lips, and all.
I mean, for all we know, he already knows.
It's possible.
There are kindred that knew about us before. You know, we're now in this lifestyle, so I don't know. We knew people before that, knew kindred before that.
Well, if other kindred knew about your cell, maybe there are other people who are trying to track them now that they're here.
That's my hope, but I don't think, and I'm going to look at Riley, I don't think that's their hope.
No.
And so
they're-
if God,
No, go for it. You got it.
I was just going to say, like, and so if somebody is already tracking them, one, they might beat us to it and handle it the way that we would not want to do, you know? So I say let's try our way first. Hopefully we can get it done. Then we don't have to worry about, I don't know.
Well, I
Is
mean,
there
maybe
any way we can use them? Right? Like,
No.
no. Okay.
At least not easily. Because I mean, like both of them. Well, the woman I would think fancies herself quite the strategist, the brains of the operation, if it would. But the other guy, not saying he's stupid, not saying he's dumb at all. He's very bright, but he always seemed to be the more shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy. So we might be able to, send him off half cocked. That would drag her into something, and then force them back into hiding, kind of thing. Like if we could intimidate them into going back to ground, and just like if we see you, you're done, kind of thing.
Okay, well, we have time to kind of get into the nitty gritty of how exactly we handle them once we find them. So I'm game for Vincent to try his method and reach out to his contact and see if they can somehow insinuate themselves into your former friends group.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got whatever we're gonna do. We have to find him first. So
Exactly.
yeah, agreed.
Gotta track them down first.
So I
I
think
don't think.
I think it makes the most sense for us to use something real as bait. I think it'd be pretty obvious if we sent them chasing after ghosts. Um, I was thinking bunch of kindred who walk around in spooky black masks seems like a pretty maybe cliched, but useful to us and very real and dangerous target for them to pursue.
Yeah.
Any objections?
No, I'm.
No.
If they go that route and get themselves handled, I guess they get themselves handled.
I'm assuming that the spider doesn't really stick his neck out too often. I'm sure that there's some folks lower down on the totem pole that they'd bump into first.
No, I mean, they did a number on Riley.
Sure.
In what regard?
Well, you said that they pulled your blood out of your body or something.
The folks at the church. With the,
Oh yeah. Okay.
spider.
Sorry. I was wrapped up in thinking about the other two.
No, no,
Um.
no. I'm talking about the men in the masks.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, they did some weird bullshit with like weird smoke and shit. They made me throw up all over the place. It was gross.
So, I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed.
Okay. Then that's what I'm going to do. I'll see if I can get in touch with her before heading down to the warehouse.
Okay. So you're going to go ahead and reach out to your.
Yep, I'm going to reach out to
contacts.
Tammy.
Okay.
And yeah, the way he's going to pose this is that he was following somebody of interest for the folks who took over Orpheus, um, ended up following one of them to a particular church, whereupon there was somebody with a black mask and what sounded like a lot of vomiting. And afterwards, when he looked, there was a puddle of blood. And if I need to describe who I'm following, it would probably be Abby.
I love that.
Who I believe is now dead. So hopefully I can't get her killed.
Yeah, she's the puddle, right?
No, the puddle is you vomiting a whole bunch of blood.
No, I meant like she was the one that got turned into a puddle, right? Like,
Yeah, later.
She's
yeah,
the one whose Charlie's skin is wearing.
yeah. No judgment. A little.
Lots of judgment, just keeping it to myself.
Exactly.
But yeah,
It's the inside voices.
pass that on as a lead, and also pass on that I heard a rumor that there's a couple of other freelancers in town. Give a description of Justin, your character's name.
Trina.
Trina. Give a description of Trina and suggest that she might be able to find help there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for me. Charisma persuasion or manipulation and persuasion. Your choice on the two.
I was really hoping for manipulation subterfuge with a long con specialization, but I will roll persuasion.
Nothing you had mentioned was a lie, though.
It's not a lie. However, it's decidedly a using the truth to misdirect.
I will allow
But-
it. I will allow it. I will allow it after you had mentioned that.
I am for sure going to surge.
Yes.
So let me see how that goes. That's fine. We'll deal with that later.
That's a problem for future me.
Problem for on my way home, me.
Exactly.
Do I have a difficulty here?
Yes, this one is going to be difficulty 3 because of your guys' connection. You guys, it's gonna be a little bit lower DC here. Not like it really mattered anyway. Absolutely crushed it. She does end up appreciating you, and I'm assuming this is all done.
I'd like to meet her in person, and I'd also like to say that like part of how I ended up on this was mention my sire. Like I saw him around the house, so I started doing some digging there.
Okay. Then I'm assuming you would like to roll another rouse check for blushing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we're gonna eat on the way home. It's fine.
Oh,
Off to a strong start.
I don't have to do anything. You guys are the one that are ramping up all the hunger. It's absolutely just glorious. Okay, you go ahead and blush up and go and ended up easily finding Tammy. Hey, yeah, thanks for this info. I appreciate it. Definitely I'll take a look. I mean, I know you said you were sort of digging into it. Did you find anything out about what they are or who they are or
I found out a little bit. It seems like there's a couple of factions in play here, and they're not maybe not friendly with each other. My initial lead, this is going to be weird to explain, but dried up. I think that she died that evening in some sort of conflict with the other ones, but they were using a sensor that like the church thing that's spreads incense,
right?
that caused one of the kindred there to throw up blood, and that was how I confirmed that that's who they were. But seemed like something that I would have expected that the Orpheus group, or maybe even a particularly resourceful one of us, would have come across. But it seemed like they were using it against each other.
Can you go ahead and roll wits and insight for me, please?
Sure.
As you said a word that made her turn her head a little bit, like she didn't understand the meaning of it.
Do I have a difficulty?
2.
We're gonna re-roll some dice there.
Sure you don't want to bestial fail with Tammy? It sounds like a great time.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, we got to
Okay.
2.
There we go.
Oh man.
He looks really confused at the word kindred, like not knowing what that means.
It means mind your
Sorry.
business, Tammy.
Yeah, sorry. That's what some of the folks. I I think I mentioned that the Orpheus group is under new management.
yeah.
That's what they've been calling. That's what they've been calling Vampire Slave.
So it's a group of things, what you're saying? That they're these
Yeah.
factions?
Yeah, I don't know if it's all of them or just one faction or what, but that's what they've been referring to them as. So sorry.
No,
I
you're
go.
good. I was just confused. Okay. This person you've been tracking, does you shown any sort of particular powers that we should be worried or known about, or?
Yeah, she was very perceptive. Like I was within, I want to say, 50 yards of her when I was taking a picture, and she responded to the shutter. So I had to vanish really fast.
Okay. I mean, I know are you busy with a different case or workload? I mean, I think that your help would be huge on this.
Yeah, no, I'll stay involved. I'll let you know what I can find. But for the moment, my first lead dried up, and I haven't been able to pin down the other one. But I wanted you to know.
Yeah. I mean, any little bit helps keep the scales
Yeah,
tilted in our favor, right?
yeah, and I have some friends who are doing some research on this too. But my, I'm planning on being out there with a camera, so I'm expecting that I'm probably going to be up late a lot of nights in the near future, so that I can try to work on their schedule.
She goes ahead and puts an arm on or a hand on your shoulder. Just look, if they're that perceptive, just be careful, all right? You're one of the good
Yeah,
ones, and we don't need to worry about you growing a pair of fangs.
I think in a move that is something that they're familiar with, when she mentions that he's one of the good ones, he seems a little self conscious about that, and it's like, yeah, yeah, I'll do my best.
All right. But
All right, I'm gonna
besides
get
that,
back on the beat.
yeah, of course, of course. Um, good luck. Thanks for the
Be
info.
safe, and let me know if you find those other two. Uh, I think it'd be useful to have help on this.
I couldn't agree more. I'll see if what my contacts reach out and let me know. See if they can find their handler or something.
All right, be safe.
You too.
And then he's gonna turn around and leave and try to go find somebody to take a snack.
Be one of the good ones too. I appreciate it.
You'll wait till he's a little distance away first.
Yeah, of course, of course. Go ahead and roll your hunting roll, DC 3. Oh, you get there.
We are playing with fire.
All right, you find a individual that fits your criteria. Excuse me. Good lord. Um, how much are you wanting to drain out of this individual?
Two dots. I want to go down to 1.
Okay. Um, while you're feeding from this individual, you just constantly hear the voice of Tammy in the back of your head, sort of almost like on repeat of "You're one of the good ones. You're one of the good ones," and then it becomes more and more dull as you finish up with the feed. Where as soon as you lick the wound close, the voice is just sort of gone.
He is, however, going to leave and then repeat it to himself. Yeah. Well, we're trying. Let's be one of the good ones.
And a voice in the back of your head, you hear, let's.
Yeah, and then I think my next plan is to be at the warehouse in time for the meeting.
While this sort of situation is taking place, Riley, Charlie, Victor, or Julian, is there anything you guys would like to do?
Think for the most part, I'm kind of just chilling.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any great way to try to find these guys.
Yeah, I've got nothing super pressing, so
I think I'd probably reach out to the group of Zemitzi that I met at that one house. Just to probably ask if we can meet up so that I can just talk to them about a second option if we need it.
Yeah, they'll turn around and text you. How soon do you want to meet?
I'll let you know. I have to hear back from a guy.
Just get a very playful text. Good luck with a winky face.
We're gonna need it. But that's all I would do. I would just hang out. I just want to get that just in case we need it.
So, how long do you guys want to hang out? Otherwise, I'll just continue on with Vincent's scene here as they are waiting to head toward the warehouse.
I was planning to head to the warehouse too.
Okay.
Close to time. I'm also
Yeah, I'd
interested to
say
see
everyone
if-
was welcome.
Yeah, if mostly to see if Fairfield seems to be on high alert after locating the bug and wondering if he found the others.
Sure. So the rest of you begin to head, towards the warehouse. And arrive promptly. When a few moments go by, and as you guys sort of wait, you guys do see the doors are open. There's multiple cars sort of in the parking lot. Definitely can hear not like an alarming, but you guys can hear there's conversation, loud music being played. Seems a little bit more normal vibe to the warehouse inside.
I'm gonna go ahead so I don't forget to do it later. I'm just gonna go ahead and blush.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a
like,
good idea.
Hunger, hunger,
we're chilling.
hunger.
Hunger, hunger.
Now we're talking.
I'd recommend you try a crunchy one.
Crunchwrap Supreme. Heard. As you guys arrive, a few moments do go by before a very nice Aston Martin pulls onto the parking lot, being driven by a driver with someone in the passenger seat that looks like it's a very elderly individual.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, I know. I need to tell Simon that we need to upgrade.
I mean, in my
We got to get out
experience,
of debt first.
in my
That's
experience,
a fancy car.
old ass people are spooky.
Nice. He thinks he's James Bond.
I think we need to assume that a lot of the people that we meet are old ass people and not just the ones that look it.
No, like if you look old as fuck, you're probably terrifying.
Good. We need somebody spooky to help show us what the spooky shit is.
I'm not scared. You can't prove it.
But yeah, my car situation is way below standard here, apparently.
If anyone would
It
like to, you can feel free to roll intelligence plus academics. DC4 on this. If you would
Nah,
like to.
chilling.
Wait, you tell me that Riley doesn't have a good intel plus academics dice pool?
Yeah, all my points I put into academics. Those are really going to come in
All
real
5 of them.
strong. Yep. At character gen, I put all 5 points into academics.
Heard.
Carter had a lot of points in academics.
Came in
Is
so
he old
handy.
now?
Not that I've heard.
Spoilers.
Question:
Answer.
Is it an old
The Daily
man
Double.
in the passenger seat?
It is an elder individual in the passenger seat.
Like a at least a male presenting person?
Indeed.
Okay. How's the man dressed?
In a suit, but it's not a very nice one. It does have elbow patches, a bit of a thicker material. But it does have a pair of glasses that are on his face, and then has a single chain that sort of wraps around and clips to this little bit right here. But he's got a little bit of a mustache going on here as well.
Sure he
I'm
does.
not sure if I should be getting Ebenezer Scrooge, Mr. Money, the Monopoly guy, or like cozy grandpa vibes from this guy.
For some reason, I'm getting Mr. Peanut vibes.
But yeah, I think that Vincent's just gonna wait.
Okay.
Lean over to Riley. Hey, didn't you say that there were like gunshots that happened here last night?
Oh yeah, like a ton.
Do we need to look into that?
Nah. Probably. I'm not sticking my nose in that. The doors were closed. There were no cars here. That's not my business.
I'm just saying, like, are we worried about it happening while we're here?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, from all the stuff that's been going on, it might have been like I'm gonna take out some aggression style desk pops.
Like hit the pillow like that. That
Yeah,
scene.
but like with a gun.
Well, there's much worse things to worry about around here than the gun.
Yeah.
As he goes ahead and gets out of his vehicle, he goes ahead and parts his hair a little bit, make sure it's all nice and parted before standing up, straightening up his jacket, fixing his little tie a bit, and walking over. And he's got what looks like it's a leather-bound journal that he holds in his hand that just says TR on the front.
Does anybody else notice this guy? Like, does he seem important?
You guys are only ones in the parking lot currently.
Okay, I meant like, is there anybody like by the warehouse or no? Where like,
I mean, there's people inside, but not outside or in that sort of capacity. So
and the doors are open.
correct.
So I would look over to see if anybody is in the warehouse looking at this guy.
A couple people stop and look at the car, but they seem to be more interested in the car than the person.
Okay.
Just while we're looking around, is our boy, what's his name? Is it Max? Captain Wormhands? Is he about?
There's a lot of people here, so you'd have to take some time and really like check around. But right off rip, you don't see him.
All right.
I think it was Wormy Joe. I think that was his name.
Oh yeah. Commander Wormvein.
But he's on our list. So we need to talk to him too.
Yeah.
But as you guys are sort of looking around at the people inside and starting to see if anyone notices, he sort of walks over towards you guys, and seems to have a small limp that he's nursing. It looks like before walking over. I was told to meet some of you here. I'm assuming you put a note in a PO box. Is that correct?
I think that Vincent is gonna think back on interactions that he's had with people, and is gonna give like a half bow. It's more of a deep nod than anything, and say, "Are you Theodore?
I am. Yes.
My name's Vincent. This is Riley, Charlie, Julian, and Victor Marlowe. He goes by Marlowe. Um, we were told to reach out to you by Fairfields, who indicated that you might be able to help show us the ropes a little bit.
Mm,
We're new
maybe.
in town, so to speak. We showed up on the same night as a whole bunch of other new people you probably know, but we were looking to try to figure out which way was up.
That way. Sorry, a little poor humor. Yes. Do you guys have a private place to speak? Never know who's about.
And I gesture over my shoulder at the warehouse and say, "Does this work?"
Mm.
It's not the most private thing, but it's at least the right kind of ears.
And he leans close to you guys. In my line of work, there is no right kind of ears. Just ones that have knives that are still sheathed.
Good to know. Good to know. We do have a location that we tend to have our conversations in, but it is very far from here. And my understanding is that that's the sort of information that we should keep. So, as far as private locations, nothing that I would say is readily available and disposable.
Is there a hotel nearby?
Yeah, there's plenty. You guys are pretty much about a 4 or 5 minute drive from downtown Indianapolis. So there's plenty of hotels definitely that can be accommodated.
I don't think that Gen Con's going on right now, so we can probably get a hotel room somewhere nearby.
I'm already on my phone looking at the different rewards programs that I'm a part of, given my feeding style.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we trying to get a room? I probably have points.
Just somewhere we could get a suite, so there's plenty of seating.
I
Oh,
mean,
you
if,
got it.
if you guys are comfortable, we could just go to my suite at the top of the JW.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't want to
Maybe more.
make you feel like you are trapped in any sort of capacity. So
No,
Oh,
Well,
you're
even before.
you're doing us a favor. I think that wherever you're most comfortable is we're amenable to that.
unfortunately enough, the museum's closed, so the JW will have to work. Onward, I guess I will meet you guys there.
Of course.
He goes ahead and limps back towards the car and parks, and then he just points over towards the street, and you see him mutter a couple of things before the driver backs out and heads towards the JW Marriott.
Do you think he's mortal?
No. I hope not. I think he's a Tremere.
God, he got turned really, really late in life.
That's unfortunate. Probably sought it out. Maybe he was like dying or something, and he was like, "Nah, somebody hook me up. I'm not done reading books or whatever."
I can't imagine anyone who would be that interested in reading books, but let's not have that conversation in the parking lot.
We'll head
Are we
towards the
all
JW.
are we all going to this meeting?
Absolutely.
Hell
All
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Rather easy. You guys do pull up shortly after Theodore does, and Theodore's driver hands the keys over to the valet as Theodore begins to head inside. You guys go ahead and take care of parking and head inside as well. And something that you guys do easily recognize is that everyone seems to know Theodore. Doormen are introducing and talking and like catching up. The bar that's even on the first floor as well goes ahead and actually like prepares a drink and slides it over towards Theodore, sort of upon entering into the JW.
Here's the real question: does he drink that drink?
He holds on to it and takes it up towards, or at least waits in the lobby for you.
Interesting.
I think Vincent's going to walk in and then lean over to Simon and say, grab a drink at the bar. Keep an eye on who comes in. If anybody seems like they're coming in a hurry, let us know.
Yeah, of course. Anyone in particular I should let know?
People who seem like they're here to hurt people.
Understood.
But yeah, then just follow him to his room.
Okay. You guys head over to the elevator, and Theodore goes ahead and presses one of the buttons that's towards the top of the elevator. As the elevator begins to ascend, you see Theodore sort of balancing the cup on his leather journal before opening up the door, putting the drink in other glass or drink in one hand and book in the other as he's holding on to it very, very tightly, and begins to head towards his suite. As he sort of opens it up with his key, it opens up, and it looks like there's 4 rooms in this suite with a large common area in the middle that has sort of like an open floor plan with a living room, dining room, and sort of kitchen sort of set up to it. But you can definitely see into at least one of the rooms that's sort of opposite of the door on the other side of this open space. As you see what, from at least from the small portion, you're able to see what looks like a library of floor to ceiling that is just all this exact same leather tome or leather journal he's holding, but it looks like it's just completely going on.
What's the view?
View is beautiful downtown Indianapolis.
Take all of this in, and then to Theodore say, "Nice place. I think that I may have gotten the wrong impression when you mentioned that you had this suite. Do you own the whole hotel?"
No. I just permanently own this suite. I know the um owner of the hotel and the architect who built it, and had this suite particularly crafted for me.
Julian starts Googling the hotel to see when it was built.
Absolutely. Um,
Uh, um, I don't know if my note made what we're looking for clear, but um, before I go any further, we can speak freely here.
Yes, you can. There's actually security system in place, and I'm assuming we have the same illness. Yes,
Yes, but
different
that
strands, but
that is sort of the kind of um, measured response that I'm wondering if we need to be using in this particular.
no, I just you guys are new faces, and I want to confirm that you guys have some of the understanding before I openly start talking about things that break a lot of bigger picture things.
Yes, we're on the same side of the. I believe the term is the masquerade.
Indeed. Julian, your search comes back that this hotel was built in 2011,
Okay.
so it's only 14 years old.
But he did just confirm that he has been turned, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Yeah.
Could have been turned yesterday for all we know.
Exactly.
with that confirmation, there's this like pit in Riley's chest for a second. It's just like, oh, I'm so sorry.
um, as he begins to walk, the very noticeable limp that was being nursed straightens up, and he begins to move more freely around his apartment.
What's he do with the drink?
Puts it on the counter.
Anyway, we had done some work recently uh, that put us into close contact with the Baron, and then later we did some work for the Baron. And as sort of exchange for that, um, he mentioned that you might be able to teach us a little bit about the things that our progenitors would normally have taken care of.
Mm,
Most of us don't know who that person is, and very few of us are in contact with them. So we
right.
find ourselves struggling a little bit with some of the ins and outs, so to speak.
And do each of you know of which clan you hail from?
I do.
Yeah.
Child of
Yeah, I think we all do.
I don't.
Right. I was gonna say Riley's trying to be
Every
real
side
sly,
contact.
but like eyeing Marlo a little bit. Like not full side eye, not throwing shade, but just like say something.
Well, that's not a problem. I know many people who are caitiff. Um,
We've met some individuals who were turned on the same night as us.
mhm.
Most of them were apparently, the term I believe is a thin blood. We seem
Ugh.
to not be that. I'm Alessandra, um, and I'll let the others share as they're willing.
Toreador.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Riley sort of advertises.
Hey.
Well, I meant the roses on the art.
Yeah,
Those were a pre-existing condition.
that was previous employer, and I both do and don't regret them, if that's fair.
Yeah, Anson was a pain in everyone's ass.
Trying to be as polite as possible at that, Riley's gonna like kind of like nod along and then walk over to just look out the window. Like try to just go take the view in for a little bit.
Riley, it's very surreal. Because you're maybe a couple floors up. Different side of the hotel, but a couple floors up from where Brick and Trina did Lookout about a year ago over at Baseball Diamond.
A weird red dot on your chest.
Yeah. That one tends to not go away.
And what about you, ma'am? And he looks over towards Charlie.
I'm part of the Zimitsi.
Interesting. You don't see many of those around these parts. No offense, just I find it out of the norm.
Well, part of why we were looking forward to talking to you is we don't really know why that's interesting or why one might take offense to something.
Yeah. Do you guys mind stepping into my library? And maybe we can sort of grab some of these journals that might help a little.
Not at all.
Please follow me. And he begins to walk over towards the door that was cracked open, and opens it fully. And now you can see the entire any wall that has been available has a bookshelf on it, and each one of the shelves has the exact copy of all of these leather-bound journals that he has in his hand.
Are there any distinguishing marks, or are they all just like identical outer coverings?
As far as you're able to tell, because you can only see the spine of the journal, they all look the same. Whether or not they're different on the inside, obviously you don't know. But he goes ahead and slides it walks over, slides it over, and pushes the journal he has in. And when he slides over the journal that's next to it matches the exact same of everything about the journal he has. It has the TR on it and everything.
But like this is obviously a journal. It's not like, wow, this guy really likes this book.
Yeah, it's obviously like
This guy's really into the same one book.
Exactly. No, it definitely looks like it's a collection of their personal journals.
I was gonna get worried if they're all copies of Catcher in the Rye.
I kind of dig the dedication to Catcher in the Rye, though, if it's just a million copies of that.
I'm gonna kind of like touch the spine in a family of craftsmen. All these books seem so uniform and precise and the same. Family trade?
No, I bought them in bulk a very long time ago.
Oh.
And when you sort of touch the spines on them, there's some age to them. They're not like crisp leather like new. There's age to it. At least about 100 years old.
Oh wow.
Stories you could tell.
Stories I have told. And maybe we get to a point where we can share some stories and have a drink. But you guys are wanting information, yes? I guess my question, I hope you don't take this any sort of rudeness in any sort of capacity, but just don't know where your knowledge starts. So I guess I'll lead off with you as far as how basic of information do you know? Do you know what sector you're a part of? Do you know?
Sure. We know, first of all, we know what we are. We
Okay.
know a little bit of the strengths and limitations of that, but probably not in any sort of nuanced detail. We know that there are clans or families or however people are liking to refer to them, and that each of them have their own special characteristics, both in terms of access to powers and vices or weaknesses, so to speak. Um, we know about the Camarilla and the Anarchs, and we've heard of a group called the Sabbat. And we know that Baron Fairfield is one of 3 barons in our sect of the Anarchs. We'll look at Riley and add, I think that Riley might know more than the rest of us, but it's sort of in a haphazard and scattered way, since they mostly lived it rather than had any sort of formal teaching of the matter.
If you know of my previous employer, then I'm assuming you know of my previous work.
Loosely.
Yeah.
You and your
Um,
predecessors.
Yep. So I know what I picked up on the job.
So hopefully not to
And I,
be crude, but not much, I'm assuming, yes?
I know enough to be polite in mixed company.
Well, that's better than
I s-
most.
I suppose that we also know that we shouldn't make any assumptions based on any apparent age, and that you could conceivably have written one of these journals per year or per decade and still been able to fill up these walls.
Yes. Um, and as you sort of get in, there is a couple of chairs that are sort of placed a little bit in the middle of the room, almost, but there is a very large, and you can definitely tell it's hand, um, a photograph, a very, very old photograph of this individual. Um, on the wall.
Oh,
Bad with faces. Is that Roosevelt?
It is
Nope.
indeed.
Yes.
I knew it.
It is TR.
I had a feeling. Like what Theodore are you giving us that also has an R last name?
Does this image bear a familial resemblance or more to the person we're talking about?
Almost identical. Maybe like a few years younger.
Well, I was thinking he was like way older.
Huh?
I mean, like presenting. Like I was thinking that he was like some like shaky elderly man.
I mean, he definitely gave that look off in the public, but after more private quarters.
Would have expected you to drive American.
Yeah.
ha.
In this economy, no, thank you.
Fair enough.
Well, I suppose we can probably count on getting a square deal.
My God.
Badooch.
Yes, yes. Continue
Something
on.
something bull moose.
In any sort of capacity. Um, the different clans sort of have spread after the court that took place many years ago. That sort of split the Camarilla from the Anarch movement, and many of the clans are sort of were split in that regard. In a more recent history, both factions, for the most part, lived parallel here in Indianapolis. But that changed within the last year or so, where the Camarilla were forced out of Indianapolis from one of our barons. And once this occurred, many of the clans sort of found a enlightenment period where most clans can thrive and not have to worry about prosecution. Not saying that we're all perfect and that these feelings don't take time to overlap. It has only been a year after all, which is a small drop in the lake of eternity that we now swim in.
That's a wild thing to think about.
What?
Kind of daunting. Not just eternity.
Yes. It's
I
daunting.
guess
It's
we've
also
heard.
magnificent.
I guess we've heard language like that a couple times. How often does it happen? And pardon, but we can sort of guess as to your age. And we've gotten what I feel is a straight answer a couple times, but what can we expect in terms of age range of the people in Indianapolis? Should we expect to find someone who was before the current era, or
Yeah. There are many individuals. Well, there were a solid percentage of individuals who are over 100 for sure. But there
but
is a individual
over
is
5?
I wouldn't say it's impossible if you ever get into smaller and smaller fractions of our population, but I will say I don't know if you guys have heard the term antediluvian before, but
No.
Bless you.
Yes, that's come up in a few of the books I've been reading.
this is the third generation removed from Cain. And these are the ones that sort of lead their clans. And, well, we have an antediluvian that, against my better advice, still runs rampant in Indianapolis. But when you get to that old, no one really stops you. Especially when
Who
you're a
can?
part of the Bruja.
King.
Well, the last time was a group of Tremere that were able to hold him still for long enough to be staked, put into a basement in Bloomington, and kept there for eternity. But there's rumblings that someone decided to wave something in someone's face, and that woke the beast.
No. Never did that,
So
you an
I
idiot.
don't know that we necessarily want to role play it out, but Vincent's going to be doing the like, sorry, you said Kane? Like, what do you mean by that? Like that, I think that he's really looking for the like, but what are the fundamentals?
Sorry, I lose track sometimes. A bit of a history buff, as you were probably aware. Um, yeah. the fundamentals. Don't go into the sun. Fire's bad. There's things out other than us in the world of darkness. Vampires, ghosts, ghouls, mages. All of it is real. But dangerous to us are the wolves. But while they are also our necessity to thrive, they are also our possible greatest threat to us. And that's the humans that we intermingle with.
So the sun, stakes, those are both real.
Yes.
Crosses don't seem to matter too much. Running water hasn't mattered. Like garlic, I don't know.
They
How much of
can.
the
They
yeah,
can.
okay.
Depending on the kindred. But most things you know about vampires are true to a certain aspect. I mean, even that lovey-dovey vampire movie that came out multiple years ago, the sparkles were just all.
They could
So
walk in the daylight.
that's Thin Bloods.
Mhm.
Each piece of lore is intertwined in the history of us in some capacity or another. But for most of the mortals, it's outlandish, too outlandish to be true. So we sell it.
What are your thoughts on Golconda?
I think that it is possible, but you have to be very disciplined in that fact. And not you particular, but the person trying to seek this state of bliss. I've known one who's successful, but they live very far away and live a much simpler life of exile where they don't have to deal with the random street fight you get into, the random mugging attempt, the blood that stains the streets that triggers our hunting. It is possible, but it is a very lonely life. And that's not necessarily bad. But while a lot of our lore is true as well, a lot of the lore that we put into these sci-fi and horror movies about these creatures are also true. And more
Silver
information.
bullets and all that.
Silver bullets, crosses, all these things. True. In some
That,
capacity or another.
can you explain that a little bit? I found myself recently in a church in the presence of a number of presumably sacred relics. Nothing.
The cross itself doesn't provide the repelling, but the true faith behind it, of the wielder of it, is where it gets its power from. You could be in a room full of crosses that have a better chance of bludgeoning you than doing anything else, but I've also seen a few years ago where someone raised the cross and some of us turned to ash before them. Others ran without worry of who they were trampling or anything like that. And in fact, I think, Riley, you were there.
I kind of sorted that under a bad dream. I'm not gonna lie.
One thing I would stop doing is sorting under bad dreams because unfortunately you now are living this bad dream.
So, can we talk etiquette and travel? You mentioned that you knew someone from far away.
Yes.
My impression was that we had, I don't know if it's fealty or an obligation or something to our Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how how does travel work?
Well, the nice thing is that we're not cams, so you don't have to get tallies everywhere you go. Um, anytime I go out of town, for example, I let our Baron know just so that way he doesn't send people to my doorstep. Once you become a level of usefulness, it's just a common courtesy.
And I assume take the red eye.
Take the red eye, but I would maybe frown upon closed quarters with a bunch of meat. If you're looking to travel and do some extensive travel, maybe look at private flies, things of that nature. Keeps the errors down. And there's a group of individuals that hunt us. I talked about the humans and the mortals, but there's different government entities like the Second Inquisition that sort of spread across multiple agencies, and they know how to check and look for us. And these things seem very subtle whenever you're looking on a mortal level, but you begin to see things like UV lights that are quote unquote checking for radioactive things, but really checking to see if you start burning rapidly. Um, walking around with silver around, or walking around with true faith and seeing if it repels any of the individuals who are a little bit weak-willed, if you will. So while they seem very mundane to most people, they know what they're looking for and aren't afraid to execute quickly.
And we fly as cargo.
It's definitely something that can be done, but then that's just making sure you have the right connections in the right places to get on that cargo list in some capacity.
What's the limitations of our ability to heal? If we lose a limb, will it grow back?
He walks over to one of the spines and, without looking at it, there's no labels on them, but seeming to like count through and go down a couple of rows and grab a book, begins to pull it open. Um, there's been cases of both. And it all sort of depends on cleanness of the loss, how long ago it was, things of this nature. And most of the time, if it's possible, our body will return to our death state of when before you were embraced. So sometimes, if those limbs or digits or whatever you may call them are near enough whenever it's time for us to rest, sometimes it's been documented that those reattach, but it's other been times where it's unsuccessful based off of cursed blades or blood sorcery that taint the body or other remedies that can impact our ability to heal. I don't know if you've had any sort of violence that's come up since your turning, but you will realize that guns, knives, and blunt objects are significantly less impactful than they were prior, and
Yeah, I
are
learned that one firsthand.
inconveniences more than deadly. But that being said, multiple of those things can still knock you into torpor. And are you guys familiar with that term, torpor?
No.
That is where you go to sleep and you don't wake up. It's like a kindred coma, right?
Yeah. Very similar to where, and it changes depending on how potent your blood is. The more potent it is, the more vampiric or monstrous you become, the longer you stay in torpor. The less bestial that you are, the shorter your torpor will last. Now, there is ways to wake up early out of torpor, but that does require a drinking from another kindred's vitae that is of a lower generation than your own.
And by lower, you mean closer to Kane.
Correct.
Okay. And I think I know the answer to this, but I kind of just have to ask: what's the beef with Thin Bloods? Is it that they're too far removed?
Depends on who you ask. Some people consider Thin Bloods to be the warning of the end of our lineage, where our powers have gone to a point where we're so far removed from Cain that our powers no longer work as intended. So a lot of this is why a lot of Thin Bloods revel in alchemy from different blood samples that they need and mixing with different ingredients to produce the same effects that we naturally have as full-blooded kindred.
And what do you believe?
I've been on this earth for a very long time, and I've seen a lot of things that were the end of society. I've seen the year 2000, I've seen the Mayan calendar come to an end, and I've seen, well, the state of our states. And I highly doubt that us being at the end of our lineage necessarily means that the end times are among us. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I have no evidence to further prove one way or another that that is the case. I mean, that is a singular line, but you have, say, an antediluvian embrace someone else, you now have another fourth generation. And that lineage continues on further and further and further and further down to generation, whatever they're at now, 16, 17, whatever.
Aren't most antediluvians relegated to myth in today's world?
Yeah, most of them are relegated to myth, missing, or no better than show up. Because usually when antediluvians show up, big problems tend to follow. So yes, I've seen and conversed with a few, but there's not been, I can't recall the last time there's been two antediluvians on the same continent.
Well, I guess there's that.
Thankfully.
I don't want this to be too forward. So I apologize in advance. What generation are you?
7th.
Wow.
I guess, how do we figure out what generation we are?
Easy answer is ask your sire.
We don't
There's
Okay,
know.
there another easy answer because that one's not super easy.
there is some blood sorceries from some of the Tremere that I know that can at least get it within 1. Get you a range, but it can't necessarily be as precise as we would like it to be.
Like ±1 kind of thing?
Yep.
And
Like-
then,
Go ahead.
no, sorry.
I was gonna say, like how long in the life does someone need to be in order to erase large swaths of people's memory?
One of the things that we've heard is that some of the powers that others of our kind have include the ability to adjust a person's memories. This is very practical at the moment, but we have reason to look for such an individual.
I know of exactly of an individual that has this power. But my question to you, because that is a very powerful thing to do, is why?
We've disappeared from some of the people that we knew before's lives, but might have a reason to want them to feel like we've disappeared as well. Cutting ties, so to speak.
For some of us, it's easier to have a clean break in that regard.
I'm one of the individuals who have this said power and capability. But I take
I'm
people's memories very, and he points to his library. Those things are precious to a person. Those are your moments, those things that define who we are and our experiences.
I don't want. I'll be blunt. We're asking because somebody from my previous popped back up, and it's not something that I can sweep under the rug, if that's the better way to say it. I don't know if this is time dilation from already having been embraced and looking forward to eternity, but I don't feel like it's that long that needs to be altered.
And it's the safer option for the people who would be receiving the modification.
Sure. Now, these journals are the reason, or I guess this power is the reason why I keep these journals. This right here that you see is each one is a day have gone by. A track record of everything I did in case someone does modify my memories. That my truth is written. When I may not remember those things, I have proof that they existed. And while I can modify these people's memories, something to think about is and I apologize for using a term that might come off as offensive, Julian, but it can make someone mad when their brain fights against trying to figure out what is true and what is not. Why their brain may experience two separate things, two separate realities, versus one that is written versus one that is what their brain believes. That's a heavy weight. Is that one that you feel like you can bear?
I think it's more tolerable than the alternative. But I'm speaking for someone else right now.
I believe I could. It's a heavy weight, but I have eternity to learn how to carry it.
You also have an
I
eternity
don't.
to be haunted by it.
That's fair. And no, again, I don't want that to sound too cavalier, Mr. President, but
I gave that title up a very long time ago.
I had to do it once. I'm sorry.
That's your one. I can do it. But there will be a price involved.
We
Name it.
expected no less.
Good. Let me get my goddammit together, and I will make sure that I have a group of the finest sorcerers that will help me.
Very good. We should discuss the price, but before we get started on any of that, this is our attempt to pick the more humane option in dealing with this particular thing. On a similar topic, are you aware of any more humane ways for us to deal with the thirst than the obvious? Something like, I don't know if going to a hospital would work. Not for the people, I feel I should clarify, but they might have supplies.
The thing about humane is it's based off your perception. I know many grave robbers that take the vitae of people who have sickly diseases that aren't going to be impacted by them, but they move them closer to a less painful death. They give them a few moments of bliss before they slip into the darkness. That, to them, is humanely, but to other people, that might just be outright murder. There's blood
What
bags,
about
there's
exactly?
animals. These things are possible, but usually you have to have a stomach that can to contain the, at least for bags, they have, without the warmth and the properties that come from grabbing them straight from the vein, they lose some of that nutrients that we need to relieve the beast and their drive.
But do you know of any operations we might be able to take advantage of or make use of for somebody who might consider that to be a more humane option?
As far as blood bags go, I think there's an individual called the Spider who has a very lucrative business that he's put into place that grabs the blood out of, I don't know who, if I'm gonna be honest, and sells the blood bags. You always have to think
What if
that
that
the
wasn't a more humane option? Is there another one?
you always have to think, no matter what the option is, whether or not it's humane, someone had to give a piece of themselves for you to eat in some capacity or another. Whether it's taken, whether it's given. Is taking a piece of most, like, I hate to use the term, but I think the Second Inquisition nailed the term of this correctly when they called us leeches, because all we do is take, take, and take. Very few times does someone of our breed give selfishly.
Got it.
So, yes, but I guess is the best way to look at it.
Out of character, I was basically just trying to give anyone who has a bagger feeding style an in for how they might be able to do that.
I don't know if we have any baggers this season, actually, which I think
Yeah,
is
but
wild to me. But yes,
Vincent's like, okay, cool, and all right, back to business.
So, what would the price for your assistance be?
depends on how far back we need to go
3 weeks.
and how in depth you were and how integral you were to them. If it's a surface thought or surface memory, a brush in with you, that's different. But if you made a true impact and depth on this person, shared a true bond, that's difficult to remove. It's difficult to change.
Hoping that we could go back those 3 weeks and just make me dead at the beginning of that. So we're not removing any of the bond, as it were. We're just ending my timeline in their perception.
Sure.
Is that am I misunderstanding? Again, I don't want to be
No, you're asking good
to-
questions. I think a big portion of this is their mind will have grieved twice. If they learned you are dead and then are now this thing, then they've grieved or maybe are grieving. And grievance is a very difficult thing to overwrite. Not impossible, but it's difficult to overwrite. But I will say it's a little easier if we're just moving the grievance versus saying it never happened. But that being
if they
said,
are.
I can only do so much if they have data and proof that you existed after the fact. Photographs, data. We live in a very technology savvy world. If that data exists out there for them to re-find you, then you're looking at doing this whole process all over again. And the more and more and more you mess with the person's mind, the more and more and more of a chance of a full mental break. And then at that sense, when we talk about humanely, is embracing not maybe better for them than being wound up in a institution all day.
That's fair.
Not knowing, as what you believe they said, which way was up. So, as far as discussion and payments, let me discuss with my group of sorcerers. But I need you to go ahead and make sure that there's no evidence that you exists after the date of your request. Removing it from technology, making sure that there's no. I need you to be a ghost if you want this to turn out the best for your friends.
Great.
I can't do that. I don't have that skill set. But if you can, that might make it a little bit easier. And with that being said, he puts his journal back and goes over to the counter, grabs his drink, and begins to take a sip of it. And that is where we go ahead and wrap up tonight's episode. Thank you guys so much for coming, hanging out. Really do appreciate it. Make sure, if you guys haven't already, to head over to adventuredice.ca and use code JBruce for 10% off your order. They are a fantastic small dice company that really could really benefit from having us send over people. And also, we love having them as one of our sponsors. So make sure to go ahead and take a look at their dice sets. Fantastic group of people. But also, guys, we're going to be at Gen Con this year doing a live show.
God.
So I did look up, because I did watch the last episode last night. It was lighthearted vampire bullshit. So if that is your thing, make sure you guys go ahead and swing by the live show. It's going to be Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to go all the way up until midnight. So make sure to swing on by. It's going to be a very good time where jokes are going to be told. Bad math is going to be, I heard, returning. And someone's wearing a cloak. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but someone's going to be wearing a cloak. So make sure to swing on by. It's going to be a good time. Meet the cast. And yeah, just hang out and talk to us. Tickets are halfway sold out currently. So they are selling out pretty quickly. So make sure to go ahead and grab your ticket if you are going to be attending. So thank you
Can't
guys.
say it now. We're finding a reason for Claudius to either get got or to just happen to be out of town that day.
It's a bold assumption. But thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. Really do appreciate it. And again, we'll see you guys next week on another episode of Indy by Night.